are safe and doing well. On this call, we are joined with our full-time director and CFO, Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, and SGA, our investor relations advisors. I hope everyone has got an opportunity to go through the financial results and the investor presentation, which has been uploaded on the stock exchange as well as company's website. We will give you a quick snapshot on our company and recent developments, and then Mr. Rajesh will walk through the financial performances of Q1 21. We are a 3-decade-old organization and a leading manufacturer of specialized chemicals such as HMDS and CMIC, which are predominantly used in pharmaceutical industry, and inorganic bromides, which are principally used as completion fluids in oilfield industry. We have registered a production volume of 1,428 metric tons with a revenue of 57 crores during Q1 FY22. In respect to the product performances, HMDS has contributed 51% of the revenue and 51% of the total revenue, which comes to nearly 29 crores. In Q1 F22, HMDS business was impacted a little bit due to the maintenance work as P7 unit, where we are doing backward integration and linking up the plant number P7 and P8. P8 and P9 are the two new coming plants and required to be hooked up for our key raw material, that is TMCS, trimethyl chlorosilane. So Chemcon would be going ahead with part of the facilities to be utilized in P8 for the backward integration of the basic raw material TMCS also. TMCS being a highly toxic and highly corrosive chemical, therefore handling this chemical requires technical skills, experience and expertise for handling of the same. Operations involving hazardous chemicals are to be undertaken only by the staff who are well trained, well experienced and well matured. Therefore, the production will be lower in Q2 as well due to the integration process between the plant number 7 and plant number 8. We'll be inspecting and doing trial runs during this period to get better efficiencies and safe operations of the plant. We expect HMDS business to operate at optimum levels from Q3 22 onwards, and as well as with the partially some volumes of inputs due to the backward integration of TMCS. Thereby, this would be reducing our load of imports from China, banking upon China for the raw material TMCS, and of course the commercial reasons. CMIC for the quarter, CMIC has contributed around 19 crores, which is about 33% of our total revenue. We are trying to utilize existing plants efficiently, which will assist in improving the production capacities by 10 to 15% in coming quarters. That would be overrunning the plant capacities. Further, we will be adding about 1,200 tons at P8 unit on a back-to-back on robust demand in the domestic market. We do not have the latest data, but as per the estimates based on the overall demand of the country as well as the international demand, as analyzed by us, Chemcon would be running with a global share of more than 40% in the current financial year. In respect to the oil well completion chemicals, we produce various inorganic bromides, which are mainly used as completion fluids in oilfield industry. For the quarter, we have registered a sales revenue of 5.5 crore in the bromide business. Due to slower capex by end clients, bromide business has been lower than our expectations. However, we have seen good recovery in Q2 FY22. We have the order book executions ongoing. With the crude prices inching up, we expect this business to restore growth gradually. Apart from these three products, we also have 4-CBC and 2,5-DHT and high-purity HMDS in our product portfolio. Earlier, we had put up the high-purity HMDS facilities which can cater to semiconductor industry, rubber manufacturing for pharmaceutical applications, etc. The product approval is taking longer time than what we anticipated. We have started with initial supply, which is a positive sign, and foresee good traction in the coming quarters. So 4-CBC is widely used in pharmaceutical agrochemical industries in the preparation of pyrazinamide, medication used for treatment of TB. It can also be used for weed control in maize and sugarcane. We are pleased to report that we have registered around 2.5 crore of revenue in Q1 22. We expect this to grow steadily. The 2,5-DHT is predominantly used in pharmaceutical industry in the preparation of potential antiviral and anti-tumor agents. It is a key starting material for lamivudine. We expect this product to perform gradually in coming quarters. Our P8 and P9 units are likely to commence production in Q3 FY22. The delay is due to the late supply of materials and equipment. The expansion will increase our capacities and strengthen our product portfolio of pharma chemicals. Products added in these two units will be a mix of old and new products. P8 and P9 will be multi-purpose facilities which will give some flexibility to add new products based on demand. I would like to mention here that all the plants which Chemcon has until now, right from plant 1 to plant 7, are dedicated plants, and changeover from one product to another sounds difficult. However, within the portfolio, some flexibility lies with us. We are serving all leading pharma MNCs, and for some we have been their business partners for more than a decade. Our continued business with them is testimony of our expertise. We adhere to all the necessary protocol to match global standards. Over the years, we have established the organization with lot of efforts to build technical expertise to handle this chemistry. We are confident that post our expansion will be better product basket to offer to our clients. This is in line with our long-term vision to capture new business opportunities under the Make in India scheme. Now, I hand over the call to Mr. Rajesh Gandhi to giving you a glimpse on financial performance. Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Good afternoon, everyone. Q1 FY22 has been a decent quarter for us as we continue to sustain a high growth from CMIC Chemical, negating our moderate performance in bromide business. Q1 FY22, total revenue stood at 57.2 crores, a growth of 25% on YOY basis. Domestic market contributes around 70%, whereas international market contributes around 30%. Total production volume for Q1 was at 1428 metric ton as compared to 977 metric ton same period last year. Segment-wise revenue are as HMDS revenue stood at 29 crore, CMIC revenue stood at 19 crore, oil well completion revenue stood at 6 crores. EBITDA grew by 28% to 18.30 crores, 3 crores in Q1 22 on YOY basis. Net profit for Q1 FY22 stood at 13.4 crores, a growth of 52% on YOY basis. With this, I conclude the presentation and open the floor for further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Varshit Shah from Veto Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity and Kamalji, thanks for the opportunity. So my first question was...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Shah. Your voice is not very clear.
Is it clear now?
No, it's sounding, it's quite low, the volume, sir. I would request you to come on the handset or speak directly on the mobile, please.
How about now?
It's not very clear, sir. I'm sorry.
Is it better now?
Sounding slightly better. Please go ahead. If in case it's not good, we will let you know.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity, and Kamalji, congratulations on a good set of numbers despite the maintenance shutdown. So my question was to understand that had you not been doing this backward integration for P8 and the maintenance till the shutdown, what is the approximate loss of revenue which probably you would have done otherwise if these challenges were not there? And is this loss of revenue recoverable from Q3 onwards, or this is a permanent loss? That's my first question.
Thanks, Mr. Shah. We hope we had a revenue loss of somewhere about 15 to 17 crore during this period, and this we will be able to recover in H2. Second half of the year, this will be getting recovered. We hope we will be able to do a volume or a revenue of more than 275 crores for the financial year 22.
Okay, so the Q2 revenue loss also you will be recovering. So both Q1 and Q2 revenue loss you will recover up in H2.
I would say the H1 loss we will be able to recover in H2.
Absolutely. So that's really helpful. And secondly, the loss of revenue would have a gross margin impact on your EBITDA margin as well. So could you just quantify some bit of ballpark gross profit level which would have otherwise flowed into your EBITDA, because your cost is same, and if this revenue would have come in, actually it would have the EBITDA margin percent would have looked very different. Is my assessment correct?
No, the EBITDA margins are based on the value additions per kg basis that we are carrying out. They are not based on the revenues. If you see the history of Chemcon, if you go through the various presentations done in last more than a year, you will be able to see that the margins are on per kg basis of the final product manufactured by Chemcon. So that remains nearly similar. Now, what happens that in case the price of raw material drops, the final product prices will also drop, and hence the revenue will drop. However, in terms of volume into the value addition, that would remain consistent. And if you see in terms of percentage, the EBITDA, PBT and PAT, everything will grow up in terms of percentage. And the revenue will drop. If you can see in the current quarter also, you see when you compare with the Q1 21, with a lower, as the margins or the revenue has come down, but the EBITDA has remained nearly similar, or it has grown.
Sure, sir. Actually, sir, my apology, I did not frame the question right. What I was trying to allude is that if you say 17 crore of revenue, I mean, you would have earned an X or Y amount of spreads on that, considering 300 rupees a kg or spread.
Right.
Right. So I was thinking that 300 rupees, the cost would have remained still the same. So that would have directly flown to your EBITDA, right?
Right.
Largely.
Yeah, sure.
So your margin would have looked very different, right, in this quarter had you had not seen this disruption. Is that what
I do agree that the margins would have been different had there been no hooking up business or the maintenance of that. And see, we are required to do this hookup 7 to 8. This has to be integrated because we are increasing the capacities of our boilers also. We are putting up new steam generators with multiple capacity compared to what we have in present. For example, we have a boiler of 5 tons. We are going ahead with 16 tons. which is a compulsion to be taken care of for the plant number 8 and 9, and these are required to be hooked up. So that sort of things, it takes time.
Sure. So that's really helpful. And if you could just repeat that FY22 guidance which you just alluded, I missed that line.
FY22, we hope we will be able to achieve a revenue of more than 275 crores.
And FY23, any guidance or any volume growth guidance, if at all?
I won't be commenting on that, because that would be better once the plant number 8 at least comes.
Sure. No worries. I have a follow-up. I'll get back.
It would be a better projection which would be achievable, because you see, when we design the plant, it is in-house design. It is not the external designers are there for doing that. And once the designs are complete, the installation goes on, and once the trial runs have been taken out, we will be able to give you the actual figures that, okay, we will be able to achieve this.
Sure. And sir, just one last clarification on the backward integration. So will the overall backward integration percentage will increase, or it will maintain at the overall level, because your expansion is also coming up? So this is to maintain the level of backward integration, or to increase further?
No, there are two aspects. You see, as the productivity will increase, the requirement of raw material will go up. Now, we will have to concentrate on whether a part of the volumes will be generating here and maintaining the imports of raw material. Had we not been able to do this, the import volumes would have gone up. So this will make us self-reliant to certain extent.
Sure. That's really helpful. I have a follow-up, but I'll get back in the queue.
Of course, the commercial reasons are always there for going for backward integration.
Absolutely.
That won't be adding the revenue growth, but at least that will be adding the bottom line.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for the clarification. All the best. I have a follow-up. I'll get back in the queue, but.
Well,
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Kumar Somia from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, my
good
question
noon,
is
Mr.
regarding
Somia.
Sir, my question is regarding the raw material pricing scenario. So how has that panned out in the last quarter, and what are your expectations going forward for that?
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on your question. Can you repeat, please?
So the raw material pricing environment that we have seen in the first, because our gross margins have improved.
Okay. The raw material prices in respect to the HMDS raw material, that is TMCS, has remained constant, or it has come down a bit. A bit means around 10 to 12%. In respect to the methyl chloroformate, the price for raw material has remained consistent. There is no variation in that. So the HMDS prices has also come down in proportion to the raw material price.
And we have passed that on completely.
Sorry?
We pass it on completely, like the raw material prices.
Yeah, we had been working on this principle since last couple of years, that it is on value addition basis. A value has been added on per kg margins, and that has been maintained, merely maintained.
And how do we expect this movement in the next 1 or 2 quarters, sir, for the pricing of raw materials as well as the final product?
Your voice is not clear, or I'm not able to understand. I'm sorry for that.
Sir, how do you expect these prices going forward for next 1 or 2 quarters?
Okay. You see, normally what we have seen is, in the winters the prices goes up, and summer the prices comes down. That is the historical levels we can say.
So why is that, sir?
It is the storage matters. You see, the manufacturers are not able to store the material in summer, so they have to clear out their stock. They work with the minimum stock. Whereas in winter they are able to store it. So that should be one of the major reasons, as well as the demand of other products, the co-products manufactured may also be impacting.
Okay, so that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you. We would request participants to please use handset mode while asking your question so we can hear you clearly. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prasenjit Bhia from Kotak. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. My question is regarding the backward integration which you are taking. So, will there be any margin improvement as such? And first, and secondly, what will be the incremental capex done for this backward integration? And also, currently we understand that TMCS is completely imported from China. So, will it change going ahead?
There will be an improvement in the margins because as we go for the backward integration, there are two reasons. One, banking upon Chinese suppliers will get reduced. And second, of course, the margins would be improving. In respect to the capex, it is within the plant 8 and plant 9. All the capex required for that was taken from by routing it through IPO. So we already have that. It is about 41 crore to be invested in plant number 8 and 9. The plant number 8 and 9 will be multi-product. So we will have the flexibility to manufacture TMCS or manufacture other products also.
Okay, so sir, if I understand correctly, so from after this backward integration, we will be looking to manufacture TMCS also.
Yeah, we will be manufacturing TMCS also, but not up to the mark, means not the total requirements of Chemcon. We will be maintaining the supplies from international suppliers as well as domestic. Domestic will also be used for HMDS manufacture.
Okay.
So suppose, say for example, we are importing as on date somewhere about 150 tons of TMCS. We will continue to maintain that, and whatever domestic production is there, that will help us in increasing the productivity.
Okay, understood. And we are confident of manufacturing this product in-house?
Yeah, sure, definitely. We have developed the plant, we have developed the process, we have done, everything has been done in-house.
Okay, good to know, sir. And sir, regarding the bromide, so we have seen again a sequential decline. So going ahead, how do you see the demand improving, and also from when we can expect some uptick in bromides?
Yeah, it is not declining. In respect to that, if we see last year it was almost nil, and it has started growing up. So, and the Q2 demands are very good. We have the order book, the executions are going ahead. As we can say, next 4 months, we have the supply schedule, clear supply schedule. So, the demand has already initiated.
Okay, so we can improve the sequential growth from 2Q onwards?
Yes, sure. We can see the growth in Q2 also.
Okay, and so lastly on the HMDS volume which we have lost, we are confident that we can recover the entire volume by the second half of FY22.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Veera from Abacus. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, can our bromide sales cross 50 crores kind of annual run rate from here on?
Mr. Rahul, bromide sales of 50 crore, just a minute. We have the figures worked up by us. Rajesh, the tonnage, right? Which is, yeah, we will be able to have around 45 to 50 crore. It should be 45 to 50 crore for the current financial year.
Okay. And sir, we are planning to launch 25DHT and 4CBC also, right, this year?
We have already launched. 4CBC we have already launched, and 25DHT, yes, is ongoing.
Okay.
In process.
Okay, but in terms of the sales, sir, like, are we expecting really like 25 crores plus sales in the near term for these two products? Like 22, not 22, but 23 types in FY23?
23, yes. We can expect around 25 crores of volumes in 23.
Okay. Fair point. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah. I come back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kashyap Javeri from MK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have just one question on our working capital, which has our cash conversion cycle, which has gone up from almost about 75 days to now about, almost 200 days. And on about 260 crores of turnover last year, we needed a working capital which was as about, 120 odd crores. What is driving that number, and why is, it continues to inch up despite the fact that for almost about 3 years, our top line would have actually declined from about 300 crores to 240 crores for a variety of reasons.
Total cycle. Mr. Javeri, we are talking about the total cycle.
Yes, I'm saying what I'm saying is that if you look at receivable inventory, and the payables number, we are at almost about 130 crore on a top line of about 260 crores. So which is considerably high, compared to not just specialty chemical, but you compare with any other industry.
One second, I will just have a hello with the CFO and I'll update you. Can you come separately on this?
Sure. Just to give you some numbers, if I look at our receivable number, that's almost about 100 crores now, as at the end of FY21, and which used to be just about 60 crores about 2 years ago.
Next question. We jump on to the next
We can take this separately, or we maybe later you can, during the Q&A, you can answer the question.
Yes, sure.
Sure. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you.
Working capital replies.
Moderator, I am done with my questions. Maybe the management can reply me, during the course of the call.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shanti Patel from Shanti Patel Investment Advisors. Please go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Patel. Your voice is breaking.
Why is it not? Now, is it okay?
At the moment,
Hello?
it is.
So my question is, what will be the PAT margin, a rough estimate for the current year in respect of our in totality? And secondly, what is our market share in respect of the various verticals in which we are? These are the two questions.
So I'll take the second question first and reply you the first question second. You see, the market share, if we are talking about, we have more than 80% of the market share in respect to CMIC. We have 100% of the market share in respect to HMDS, we being only manufacturer of HMDS in the country. The balance of volumes are being met from the imports only. For CMIC, we have the other two manufacturers in the country as Anshul Chemicals and Paushak Limited, both who have less than 20% of the productivity compared to Chemcon. That is the position. In respect to the PAT percentage, what you are expecting a reply from me, I would say, you see, we don't work on percentage, but we work on value addition per kg basis. Now, as the sale price increases, the percentage decreases, and it is vice versa. Because our margin remains consistent. If I am selling HMDS at 500 rupees with a margin of 100 rupees, it is 20%. If I am selling HMDS at 800 rupees with a margin of 100 rupees, that will become 17%. So higher the revenue, lower the percentage PAT. That becomes the scenario in case of Chemcon working. So please work on percentage of PAT. Please work up the volume of PAT.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, Chandru.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Kumar, a shareholder. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Rajesh Kumar.
Good afternoon, sir. Hope you and your Chemcon family are all safe and healthy.
Yes, sure. Everyone is fine.
Very nice. Sir, I have few questions. The first question is, you had mentioned to us in the earlier con calls that there is no competition or no one manufactures
2,5-DHT within India.
Yeah.
Is it possible to share us who will be the competitors for us in this product abroad, and how big is the potential, including the export market?
Well, I won't be able to share you on this con call in respect to the other manufacturers globally. However, we can provide you separately the list of other manufacturers that we have for this product.
Okay. But how big is the potential, sir?
The potentials can be seen from the import data. You can verify. You can very well go through that. It is available in public domain. Please refer to that.
Okay, fair enough. Sir, we were to convert, since the approval from the customers for this product was taking a little bit more time than what it was anticipated. We were to convert these 2,5-DHT facilities in P6 to make CMIC. Has it been completed?
Yeah, it has been completed, and we have been able to achieve better productivity during the last month. That is Q2 first month.
Oh, congratulations on that, sir.
July we have touched a production of 197 tons.
Of 2,5-DHT?
No, of CMIC.
Oh, from that facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sir, similarly, we have this oil well chemicals capacity which we are not able to utilize due to slower demand of that product. Is there any possibility to convert part of that also to make any other products where we have demand?
It is an ongoing process. We have done up with the product, the brominated product. It is an organic bromide that we will be manufacturing, and the plant is under conversion. So we will have the possibility to manufacture either calcium bromide or the other organic bromide also.
No, sir, I'm asking whether will they have provision to make, let us say, HMDS or CMIC from that facility?
No, it cannot be done. The bromide plant can be utilized for other bromides which we will be converting it. It is ongoing process. Hopefully within about 1.5 to 2 months, or you will be able to see the Q3 results with the new product in bromide also.
Okay, thank you, sir. That was very useful. Sir, the third is, as per the current scenario, when will we start getting orders for both these two products? One is the 2,5-DHT and the other is high purity HMDS.
High purity HMDS, we have already started commercial supplies. The volumes are low. Of course, we don't expect the very high volumes in the initial stages, but we have already started exporting that product.
Okay. Sir, how much we are expected to do in the current financial year, sir?
I won't be able to give you that figure because that will be based upon the approvals and the ongoing system. You see, for this application, it will be very slow and very small volumes taken. And the countries using this, or the areas where we are concentrating, are also getting impacted because of COVID. The working from home systems and all that, and that has resulted into slowdown of everything. During this period of time, no new suppliers the customers are interested to check for. So that is an impact to the business or the expected business to us also. Well, I won't be able to comment on the volumes for this financial year.
Thank you. I would request Mr. Kumar to rejoin the queue. The next question from the line of Rahul Veera from Abacus. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. In terms of HDMS's different applications, you said it's going to be, any indications from the different companies of probably batteries or semiconductors that you are seeing?
We have supplied this to the rubber industries. We have still not been able to supply it to the semiconductor industry. And as far as the rubber industry is concerned, we have received positive responses, and we hope we will be able to do better. It is principally supplied to US.
Okay. And what is exactly the applications, if you can help us understand that?
It is pharma application rubber, particularly the body parts. of rubber, or you can say the catheter type of things.
Okay.
The rubber that is going to be inserted into human bodies.
Okay. And in terms of semiconductors, what will be this application?
It is for coating of the semiconductors.
Okay. So any of these large manufacturers, whether TSMC or any of these guys have shown any interest, like any indication there?
I'm sorry, what?
Any of these larger semiconductor manufacturers globally have shown any interest with us?
Yeah, definitely. We have the requirements or the interest that is ongoing with Thailand Industries.
Okay. Fair point, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thanks, everyone. This is a tremendous growth opportunity for us as we penetrate deeper into the pharma space and suffice the requirements as chemical suppliers. Our role in the growth opportunity will be in facilitating them to have sustainable partners in the long term. With this, I conclude the call. If you have any further queries, please get in touch with SGA, our investor relation advisor. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call today on earnings. Thank you. Once again.
Thank you. On behalf of Emkay Global Financial Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.